everybody, I'm Dave Ferguson. I'm going to show you a little bit something about the ColdFusion scheduler in CF10 and some issues you may run into and how to get around them if you're running scheduled tasks that are sub 1 minute. So first, let's take a look at the ColdFusion administrator, and we'll go look at the schedule task interface, and we'll go just create a new schedule task just so I can show the interface. So the one thing you can actually see here now, one of the changes is we can run scheduled tasks now in seconds versus minutes and hours. So you can actually set scheduled tasks to run in every 3 seconds, 5 seconds, or under a minute without doing any fancy tricks. And as well as that, we now have things called, we go to see additional settings, we have things called handlers that allow us to say what to do in the event some things occur. For example, on misfire, we can say what to do. So a misfire is a scheduled task that didn't start when it was supposed to. Now, the underlying engine that handles the scheduled task, the Quartz engine, has a way to deal with that. And you get the misfire when a scheduled task was set to start at, let's say, noon, and it's noon and 3 seconds and it hasn't started yet, and then it starts. It's considered a misfire condition. Now, if you're under what's called the misfire threshold, the scheduled task will just immediately fire. But if you're over that threshold, it won't fire the task. It'll say it's considered a true misfire and will ignore it. So this on misfire condition, if you're under the threshold, would never happen. So if you have a scheduled task that's set to run every 3 seconds, the default misfire time is 30 seconds, or 60 seconds, I'm sorry. So if your task is supposed to fire every 2 seconds, let's say, and it's 2 seconds late, it's not a misfire. You're under the threshold, so the Quartz engine is going to do what's called a catch up, and will start running the scheduled task to catch it up to the current time as long as it doesn't cross that threshold. So, for example, if you have a task that was set to run every 2 seconds, you pause it for 30 seconds, you haven't crossed that threshold yet, and when you turn it back on after 30 seconds, it will run the scheduled task 15 times to catch it up to current time. However, there's a way to get around that, so it doesn't automatically continuously fire those tasks. And how you'd handle that is changing a setting in the Quartz engine. So if we browse to the CF10 install directory, then we go to the CFusion lib Quartz directory. Inside here is a file called the Quartz properties file. And these tell the Quartz engine some default settings to use. So we're going to open this file up and take a look at it. And in here, we have some base settings for Quartz. Now, I warn you, unless you really know what you're doing with these settings, leave them alone. You can cause Quartz to completely not run, or ColdFusion not to start, and other things to really go bad if you start playing around with settings in here. But the one we're really going to concern ourselves with is this org.quartz.jobstore.misfire threshold. The default in here is 60,000 or 60 seconds. So if you're going to schedule tasks that need to run sub-second or every couple of seconds, you want to change this misfire threshold to be a lot shorter. So maybe down in the range of 5 seconds. So anything that would be like twice the time of the slowest task, so you don't have this catch-up scenario. So if you change the misfire threshold to, like, say 5 seconds, which is double the time of the quickest task, that catch-up misfire condition won't happen, and you'll be able to gracefully use the on misfire condition instead of letting the Quartz engine catch up. So then this on misfire in the scheduled task would actually come into effect and would be used instead of the catch-up condition. But in changing that setting to be so low, you need to make sure that you manually now deal with misfires in all your scheduled tasks, because misfires happen literally all the time, because all you need is your server to be under even just a little bit of load, and the Quartz engine may be a couple seconds late in starting a task, which would then start invoking that on misfire threshold. So If you're going to run really quick tasks, then you really want to change that setting, but be mindful of how that may affect other tasks or your server as a whole. So That's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.